tried to foster a family feeling that covers not just us and our client, but the community and the subcontractors.
Teamwork is absolutely essential, and we've got a fantastic team here.
We've got the Skanska team and the Network Rail team.
Atkins, the designers.
We have Watsons who are doing the steel work, and then we have Mamooks who are working for Watsons.
All together to build one thing. The team have delivered the success that you see behind us here. Well, this is a great project for Skanska. It's really what Skanska's all about. A complex engineering project right in the heart of a very busy city with all sorts of challenges.
This job was originally called Thameslink 2000, and that was when it was going to be finished in 2000.
We did 18 months as design management contractor in 2002, and then the scheme was suspended. I came back in 2006, and we tendered the scheme again, and fortunately we were successful in 2008.
I've now been on the project for over 2 years. I arrived in about March 2009 and took over Network Rail's responsibility for the delivery of the project.
Well, I've been working with Skanska now for the best part of 10 years since they were first involved on the Thameslink programme, and this has been, I think, one of the major achievements that they've made and they've been able to do.
Working in London, one of the hardest jobs to do is trying to weave new infrastructure around existing infrastructure. Particularly this project, where we've had some very complex neighbours to work with. A lot of people that I've brought to show them the job in its construction have been amazed that we've been building a huge bridge sort of tucked away behind working city around it. Now that we've actually pushed the bridge out, I'm surprised to see it.
I've been involved with this project for about 2 years now. I tendered the job, priced the job, planned the job, delivered the job.
From when I came here about 2.5 years ago on the project, saw the conceptual ideas on paper, and got spoken to about the project manager about what they were looking forward to doing. So actually standing here today and seeing it happening, it's been a real achievement for everyone who's been involved.
The early part of the job was all about investigation and finding out from an archaeological point of view what was underneath before we could do any of the piled substructure.
It's been very interesting dealing with that, having archaeologists on the site for such a long period of time early on in the job.
Every bucket full of soil gets taken out has always got something of interest in there.
I mean, we've found human remains here, we've found bits of the original London Bridge, we've had Roman walls, we've had all sorts here. So yeah, everything we touch is not what it's supposed to be, not like we thought it was going to be, but we get round it.
What people don't realise is that this is the earliest crossing into London, dating back to medieval times. This was the first bridge or the first access into London, and hence there's a lot of history associated with London Bridge and the Borough Market in particular.
It's fascinating, and we've loved working with the archaeologists because they've been so happy to spend their time talking to us about what they're doing. So, you know, a lot of the guys have really enjoyed working with them and finding out a bit more about the history of the area, as well as doing their traditional day-to-day job.
When we first heard about the development, we was all against it because we didn't want the area to be disrupted like we thought it was going to be.
I remember the initial discussions very clearly that we had to have in chapter when the plans came to us first of all for the new bridge and the new viaduct.
Our main concerns were the noise, the dust and the disturbance it was going to cause our lives.
So for us it was a very complex set of discussions. How was it going to impact locally? What was the effect going to be more widely?
Perhaps some of the objections were born out of fear rather than a particular issue with the scheme itself, because sometimes construction projects can really take over an area and hang over it for a considerable period of time. If you can be more considerate and keep yourself to yourself and let people carry on with what they do, then they welcome you into your community rather than you trying to take over their community.
We've had some really contentious objectors early on who have seen how we've worked and have really come on board. That's been very exciting.
Skanska was very sensitive to the residents and the working market, and if the project we wanted to do something, they first will go through me to sort of explain why they want to do something, what's my concerns about it, and see whether they could change their method of working.
There's a cathedral within a stone's throw of the bridge itself. You're working around a fruit market which has been in this position for several hundreds of years, and as well as many other neighbours, businesses and residents with whom we in Skanska have had to work very closely.
I mean, certainly one of the plans was, obviously, we've built a temporary area for the market traders to the other side of the viaduct whilst we demolished the existing section. But again, it was done in conjunction, in cooperation with the market traders, so a great deal of liaison took place between ourselves, Network Rail and the market traders, so that they were kept in the loop in terms of what we're doing.
We hear about collaborative working. It's a very common phrase, it's used a lot. We have seen it actually put into place on this project. Not just between Network Rail and Skanska, but between Network Rail, Skanska, their suppliers, their subcontractors, but also the working very closely with the stakeholders and local businesses.
I think Network Rail have done a good job in convincing a lot of them that ultimately this will increase their opportunity for the businesses to grow and develop, and with the extra market capacity that will be here, there'll be more people coming to Borough Market, which is a huge attraction in London.
It's like trying to build a major building and civil scheme without anyone really knowing you're there and without disrupting their day-to-day life. And we try and keep our traffic away, we try and make our marshals visible, keep the traffic moving and keep the noise down, and just be as considerate as we can and allow people to carry on with what they do day in, day out.
And one of the things I've also noticed was how clean everything has been. So where I expected a huge amount of dirt to be produced simply through the construction work, that's not been the case.
Nobody owes Skanska a living. We're here to do a job. We do a job well. It's a cliche that I use constantly in the meetings. We do what we say we'll do. It helps us to win more work.
In my view, it's changed it for the good, I think.
As a cathedral, you're relating both to the local community but also to the wider community, thinking about all those people who are coming into London, needing to ease their journeys.
During the day, this area is quite affluent and it completely changes during the night time. But with the hoarding and the policing that we've had here, we've dealt with it quite well.
Every job's stressful, but not too stressful. The stressful is the public working around us around here.
We have to be on the ball with ensuring that we keep everybody safe, public and our workforce.
The attendant labour on this job have worked really hard to maintain the reputation of Skanska. They've been very patient, with the public, and at times it's been quite difficult. And I think that has been quite unique, and certainly it's very unique to the Thameslink project. And certainly from Skanska's point of view, I don't think we've ever had anything quite so intense with the public before.
One problem with the public can take up everyone's time and distracts us from what we should be doing, so it's best for us and it's best for the community that we really pay attention and take their requirements into consideration in what we do day in, day out.
Also traffic management in an increasingly busy area of London. The way in which they've had to reroute traffic at various times, but it's never really disrupted our life.
One of the advantages of doing it in this way is we do minimise the inconvenience to the public. It might be difficult to realise that when you see the impact of the closing of Borough High Street, but we're only doing it for this one weekend, and that is it. The previous method that we were going to use to build the bridge, which was a more piecemeal method, would have meant a lot more closures of the high street and a lot more disruption to the public. So here it's severe disruption for one weekend, but one weekend only.
When we first envisaged putting this very substantial bridge in position, this wasn't the way that we were going to do it, from sliding it from a viaduct they'd already made. But it was because of Skanska and their contractors who overcame the difficulties that we had encountered with our original means of launching the bridge. And I think it's due to Skanska and their contractors that we've been able to do this so successfully and on time.
The problems that we've had to overcome have been very interesting to look at, and we've come up with some great technical solutions.
It hasn't been necessary to put in any additional strengthening works in the approach viaduct in order to carry the loads from the very large loads from the High Street Bridge.
So we had very good designers, computer modelling that has been done, and very importantly we had the whole design done on 3D CAD, which is absolutely ideal for picking up all the clearances to the buildings.
In the weeks and indeed months before the bridge launch, we've been getting all the paperwork in place, making sure everyone knows what they're doing, everything's where it needs to be, make sure that on the night and on the weekend, this weekend, everything's there, nothing can go wrong, and if it does, we have something in place as a plan B.
But certainly it's a very tight footprint that we had to work within. The structure does go quite close to buildings. Obviously the top story of the wheat sheaf was taken down to accommodate it. So we've always been very sensitive to the environment in which it's being built.
What you have seen is a very well planned project that has taken on board stakeholder concerns, local business concerns, and actually planned that into the way we've implemented the works.
On this contract we have all disciplines of subcontractors, from the steel fixers, the chippies, the panel people, all the building trades, and it's one family, it's one group of men all together to build one thing.
Because it's such a restricted area with so many sort of little spaces and alleyways, we need everybody to be looking out for everybody else, and that keeps us all going forward safely. And it also means that everyone feels involved in this project, which is, you know, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for everybody.
And from the safety perspective, moving in this area, large pieces of machinery, huge metalwork, in a place where people don't seem to regard a road as a road when the borough market is functioning, and yet with complete safety.
You know, even to reverse one skip lorry in takes up to 6 men in order to make sure that pedestrians are safe and that the traffic has been stopped whilst we reverse in the wagon.
We've got a massively enviable safety record, and we want to keep it that way. So all the time we're thinking about how to do things properly and how to do them safely.
It's been a very good project to work on, and like all Skanska projects, we pride ourselves on, yep, we will work safely or not at all, and ensure that it's safety before productivity.
You know, we're trying to put a 1,200-ton steel bridge over Borough High Street in the middle of one of the most populated parts of London, busiest parts of London, with the Borough Market, the third most visited attraction in London.
Building a bridge on top of a bridge and then sliding it out, you wouldn't have to do in a green field. You'd have all the room you would like, and you could build it off to the side or even crane it in. But we've had to work around trying to keep all the traffic flowing through all the construction process. Most
of them to do with logistics. It's trying to get the materials you need to exactly where you want them to be at exactly the right time. And you've got trader interfaces that you've got to deal with. You've got 289 party wall-to-wall to deal with. There's small businesses, there's properties. All those things you've got to consider and try and work with the people in the local community to try and do this as easily as possible for everybody.
The sheer logistics of actually constructing work in a very, very tight area adjacent to the existing railway viaduct in the middle of one of the busiest markets in Europe.
We've done demolition here and all through all of the work sites, primarily by hand. It's just not possible to get heavy machinery that perhaps you traditionally associate with demolition works.
Yeah, we've had some reasonably big buildings to demolish, including some that have been right adjacent to a very busy railway line.
As I say, we had to move out of our flat for a couple of months because they had to do some demolition at the rear of our property, and they put it back together like brand new.
This area here will have a reinstated building, so a lot of modified buildings and
through Borough Market, the whole basement was taken out, and that's all got to be reinstated. And the advantage with the monopiles, they'll just have the actual steel case of the monopile it stays there and it will be painted, and they'll just have the pile going through their basement, and it will be go back more or less as it was, more open, I believe, in some areas.
The structure weighs about 1,080 tonnes in its launch condition. It's supported on the front end on the SPMTs and jacking towers.
Well, the sliding technique effectively is a combination of, from this end you can see here, the bridge will be jacked along the length of the viaduct on top of some slides.
But it's transferred to these towers by raising the platform with the SPMTs.
And they pick up the front end and travel across the road, across the bed. The back end is actually pushed by two push-pull jacks, two 64-tonne push-pull jacks. And that is where the main motive force for the launch actually comes from. The SPMTs basically keep up with the push speed.
We've put down steel plates over surfaces that were sensitive, and manhole covers and the like, and then just built a granular platform which has been compacted to provide a level surface for the SPMT to run across.
It goes forward in equal increments. It's not a continuous operation. The rate of progress is determined by the push-pull jacks.
So it basically jacks, moves back, jacks and moves back. So again, it's planned to take 4 hours from start to finish.
Half a metre above its final level, do final adjustments to get it to sit down on its bearings.
This is the pinnacle of the project, and for the last month or so, it's just been flat out working so hard to get it ready to go.
I mean, the challenges from working in central London, logistics, then you've got the technicalness of it, the sheer size, and we've ended up with a bridge that most of us can be proud of.
Just fantastic, I've done it. Brilliant.
The bridge slide was successful because of the amount of planning and preparation that went into it.
Technically, we've actually constructed a fairly spectacular bridge, which in itself is 80 metre span, a massive truss. The quality of workmanship has been very high.
And I think the thing which impresses me most is I've been involved in this project for several years now. I've seen pictures of this bridge through public inquiries over the last several years, and the most remarkable thing is it looks exactly like the pictures foretold that it would.
You have a significant structure now which is designed as a gateway to the City of London, and I think looking at the structure behind me there, that is exactly what you have.
And I think what we've actually demonstrated to the local businesses, to the local stakeholders, is that we can manage these projects successfully with working very, very closely with very good contractors like Skanska.
I think it's very good. I think it's going to bring a lot of people back into the area which needs help.
It's so different from what was there before, or what was visible before, a very boxy kind of bridge. Here we've got fluid shapes. It's going to take some getting used to. It's changed the sort of skyline of coming up Borough High Street, and I look forward to kind of getting used to that new view. But what's amazed me in the whole process is the level of human ingenuity, what is possible with skill, working within such fine tolerances and achieving such a great thing.
Yeah, I think we've had a great team spirit between, well, with the client as well. The client's been very important in that, and we've had some very professional subcontractors who've joined us and really integrated with our team and with the client. It's been very positive.
Working with a team of individuals such as Skanska, Network Rail, Watson Steel, Atkins, everybody that's been involved with it. We've gone over every problem we've come across in a timely manner. We've not been treated as a subcontractor, we've been treated as part of Skanska's team.
Everyone's paying attention to what's happening around them and everyone's looking out for everybody else.
Had hours and hours and hours of meetings and discussions to try and hone the scheme to get something which is efficient and the best way to build a bridge in this zone.
I've been really impressed by Skanska working alongside them with this project to see how they've actually managed doing such an amazing piece of construction in a very tight site, in a very historical site.
We've got a great client here, we've got a fantastic supply chain here, and then we've got a bunch of guys at Skanska. This is why they get out of bed in the morning, and all of those have come together in a very, very strong team, and that's why we've got a project here that's bang on programme and it's going really, really well.
I will miss the challenges from this particular job. I think what we have here is a team that has gelled very well. It has worked through a number of problems, and I think what we have is an opportunity to reflect on those challenges, take lessons from it, but look back with very fond memories.
My own personal memories of this will be the buzz of getting the bridge across successfully, safely, and probably more than anything, the client is pleased with the job that we've done.
So once this is finished, I'm definitely going to miss it, yeah.
It's just a dream project to work on, really.
I've enjoyed it very much.
It's been 3 years of my life here, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. It's a tremendous job.
I'll look back on this project in years to come as being one of the pinnacles of my career, definitely.
Yeah, I think we'll miss it, but there'll be hopefully some others around the corner that will be equally as fun.
It's been brilliant, really, really exciting.
Excellent project, excellent.
Lots of long hours, lots of difficult moments. All in all, that's all part of working on a project like this. If you don't come across those things, then you know, it feels more rewarding at the end to get through it.
It's been a challenge, it's been emotional.
Hopefully this has set a precedent for how the projects should be done in the future.
You're never going to do another project like this. Everything you want to do is on this project. You've got major civil engineering, there's building works, there's interfaces with the public, everything you could possibly want is on this project. Every day is a new little adventure.
Yes, we've done the big shiny bit now, and now it's on to finishing it off and carrying on as we've started.